Hey, so a couple of months back, I was having a conversation with one of my friends about my VTubing, and they said, "Okay, so Kaori, what kind of a VTuber are you?" And I thought for a minute, and I said, I'm an Oregano VTuber," and they're like, "What?" So I thought, and I told them, "Well, you don't really realize it, but really, it all comes back to pizza-themed content, which ironically works out pretty well." Considering that my very first stream was me eating a pizza. So, well, or pizza party or Lunchables, but you get the idea. So I thought it was very appropriate. Kawaori, the Oregano VTuber. Then I thought about it, and I really didn't. I don't have any videos that explain exactly what who I am. So obviously, my name's Kawaori, and it's come up a couple of times when I've streamed before. People ask exactly what am I supposed to be, because they see the fluffy ears, and they're like, "Well, what exactly are you supposed to be? A koala, like a teddy bear?" So, you might actually be a little surprised. So, Kawaori is actually a river otter. So the Japanese word for river otter is actually kawauso. It is associated with a lot of Japanese folklore as well, about river otters that can transform into human forms. There's a lot of neat, like I said, folklore about them being a yokai. So kawauso, but it's actually a portmanteau between kawauso and origami. I've always liked origami ever since I was a kid. The idea of taking a plain blank piece of paper and folding it into something really cool, it always appealed to me. So I liked that concept as well, of taking just a blank slate and making something really cool out of it. So that's where that idea came from. So Kawaori, the river otter, and yeah, there's a little bit of history into where the name comes from. So let's see, what else? Birthday. My birthday, when I first uploaded my first video, January 24th. And as of the time that I'm making this video, I'm actually 35 years old, believe it or not. I am 5'7" tall. For those outside of the United States, you'll have to do the conversion for that yourself. I don't know it off the top of my head. My blood type, just in case you were curious, my blood type is water, which means I am weak against electric blood types. So if you have electric blood types, just keep your distance. But locations, you're probably wondering, where exactly is your favorite VTuber Kawaori located? And I am located in upstate New York. Generally, I can be found somewhere in the dark blue area of this, although sometimes, rarely, I can be found in the white areas, but usually in the blue areas. That's not to say that I've stayed here exclusively. I've been all across the United States. Not to every state, but a large majority of them. I'd say more than half of them. I've been to Hawaii. I've been, like I said, across the United States. I've spent a little bit of time outside of the United States. You can't really, this picture only shows New York State, but we actually share a border with Canada, so I've been up into Canada a handful of times. And one time I even got my way over to Europe. And while I was there, I spent about a week in Switzerland and even a day in France. That was fun. And then, one of my favorite ones, I've been to Japan. That was a pretty cool trip, and I plan on, actually I'm going back in a couple of months, but I've spent 2 weeks there. That was a lot of fun. So anyway, yeah, those are places I can typically be found and places I visited. Some more cool information about me. All right, favorite food, shrimp. Shrimp. There's nothing crazy about that, just shrimp. Let's see. Okay, goodbye, shrimp. So, typically when I make my videos, I'm just kind of freehanding it and going with the flow. But this time I actually wrote out a little bit of a script because I'm not very good of thinking of facts about myself on the fly. So favorite VTubers. I wanted to put that in because it seems like a pretty standard question in an introduction video. I actually don't want to name drop any of my favorite VTubers because I've got a few of them. I've got a handful of them, a lot of them actually. And I would hate to say, oh, I like this person and that person, and then realize like, oh, wait a minute, I really like this person. I don't want to name drop people and then realize that I've left out some of my other favorites. So there's a lot of them. But they're almost all exclusively smaller indie VTubers. I find that it's cool to be able to interact with them, I guess, in the chat or as at the audience. And when you get into like the big corporate VTuber scenes, it's like, okay, well, they're fun to watch, I guess, but you don't get to have that fun like interaction with them when there's like 1,000 people in the chat. Your message just gets pushed to the bottom and nobody ever sees it. So the smaller indie VTubers, usually some sort of chaotic energy or something, or sometimes not. But those are usually the ones that I like to watch. There are a few that I'd really love to work with, but a lot of them have pretty high energy, and I'm not sure that I'd be able to match it properly. Maybe sometime. Let's see, what else? Ooh, here's a good one. Why did I become a VTuber? So actually, it started as like a joking bet between me and one of my friends. So we were just joking about it, but I went ahead and actually got my model commissioned, and I got it rigged, figured out the software, and actually got started. And it turned out I actually really enjoyed it more than I expected that I would. This isn't actually my first foray into YouTube. I have another channel that I made way back in 2007. But the content on that is a completely different style. Obviously, YouTube was a totally different place back in 2007. But the content was totally different. I still upload to it every now and then. Every couple of years, I'll put something out there. But the VTubing stuff was a totally different experience. The type of content that I could make and the style, the type of software and hardware that I got to work with, it was completely different. And honestly, I really enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun, and I'm continuing to enjoy it. So anyway, I continue. What is my current streaming setup? This one I wanted to touch on because I have a really kind of unusual one. A lot of people that I found, they like to use VTube Studio, they use VBridger, just popular programs within the VTubing community. And I'm actually streaming using a 2013 HP ProBook 640, the first generation. And naturally, considering that it's 12 years old as of right now, about to be 13 really, it's not very powerful. Granted, I did install 16 gigabytes of memory in it, and I used that for a while, but was eventually throttled by the 4th gen i5 processor that it had. So I upgraded that to the best i7 that I could possibly put into it. HP didn't even offer this particular type of setup. This was, it ends up being a custom, one-of-a-kind setup. It allows me to squeeze every bit of power that I can out of the laptop. There's still a lot of throttling and things that I'm not able to do with it, but generally I'm still able to do a good amount. I'm pretty happy with it. I might get a new one, a new laptop in the near future, but I don't know. We'll see. For right now, this is working just fine. But it doesn't work very well with VTube Studio and VBridger at the same time, while also trying to record with OBS, and heaven forbid that I'm trying to play a game, because then the whole thing, it just doesn't do that much, and it doesn't multitask that well. So as a result, I have a bunch of secondary PCs, secondary laptops, a number of different capture cards, adapters, different cameras, secondary monitors, all sorts of equipment that I can swap in and accommodate whenever I need to perform some sort of technical wizardry, depending on what type of video I'm making. But I always get the job done. My headset that I use, so some people, a lot of people actually use a freestanding microphone, but I actually use a headset. It is nothing special at all. It's a refurbished Turtle Beach Recon 50X headset. I think I bought it at GameStop for like 20, maybe 30 bucks at most. It really wasn't much. Face tracking, I actually use a program called IO Live for my face tracking. It's pretty bare bones. It doesn't have a ton of features. However, it works very well on my laptop because it is so minimal in its system requirements. So it works pretty well. Eye tracking isn't great, but you know, it does what it does. So anyway, all of that, I make it work. If you haven't been able to tell based on this whole rant about my computer setup, I like weird old technology and weird old games. I guess not necessarily weird. I just played Pokemon Blue. It's not too strange. But yeah, I like old games. I like old technology. I like to find strange, unusual, and novel uses for them. And, you know, in general, I like to make strange, weird, offbeat videos. I like old video games. I like strange old technology. So, you know, maybe that gives you a little bit of an insight. I'm sure that, geez, by this point, it's been almost 2 years. So there's plenty of content that you can go to get a feel for what type of material I'm into and making. And if not, hopefully this gave you a little bit of an insight into it. So I hope you learned a couple of new things about your favorite VTuber Kawaori, the Oregano VTuber.